This year, I've spent over $150,000 on adverts between my money and my clients' budgets. And over this year, I've tried every type of advertising structure and campaign that you could possibly imagine. So today, I'm going to break down for you what I found to be the most profitable setup and how you can start implementing it. And this isn't theory, this is from real experience with real data. So this ad structure that I found to be by far the most effective and most profitable wasn't VSL ads, it wasn't webinars, it wasn't masterclasses, it wasn't offering PDFs, and it wasn't offering the typical style of lead magnet. What it actually was optimizing and doing lead generation by getting people to follow us on social media. And essentially what that means is because of the way we set up these campaigns, which I'm going to break down for you in a moment, every new follower that we get becomes a lead. Now, you may have heard people speaking about these types of ads before, but what you actually tend to find is that most people are just copying the masses who are actually spending majority of budget on these campaigns, and majority don't actually understand the science and nuances behind why this works. So let's first of all get into and break down for you why this actually works so well. So the first reason as to why these types of ad campaigns I found to be so much more effective is, first of all, very simply, because of trust. I'm going to break down the exact intricacies of how to build that trust with these campaigns in a moment, but what makes these campaigns so much more effective when it comes to trust is there are just simply so many touch points with the client avatar before they ever opt in and actually technically become a lead. And so essentially what it means, which again I'll break down in a moment, but people can see your story, your results, the value you're able to provide to the market, your expertise, all before they ever opt into the ad. So now the way that switches the dynamic is, instead of people having to give you their emails, their phone numbers and their names before they've even claimed the thing or know if it's any good, they're able to gather all of these information on you, build that trust, which makes it even more likely for them to convert to a lead. And this is why also these ads are not only the most profitable, but they're also the absolute cheapest. Now, the second reason as to why these ads are so great is because of friction. And what I mean by that is friction is low. The way friction looks when you're advertising is you add steps in between somebody being able to opt in. And typically what that tends to do is, the idea of it is it drives up the cost of your ads, but it means that the people coming through are higher quality. Now, what I actually found was when I ran ads like VSLs, webinars, masterclasses, etc., when we would add friction to these, the cost would significantly increase, but that didn't directly correlate to a significant increase in lead quality. So what these ads do really well is there's really low friction, but because of the way you position the ad flow and campaign, which again I'm going to show you in a moment, it means that there's next to no friction on people opting in, and because of the way you set it up, people are already resonated and you're always attracting the right people into it. And so what that means is quality increases, quantity increases, and costs decrease with these types of ads. And essentially what that then means and does for you is it makes your ads 10 times more profitable. Now, the other good thing about these campaigns is the big boss, Meta, likes you. They give you the thumbs up, because the way that we do these ads is we're keeping everybody native and inside the Instagram platform. Now, obviously, when Meta is allowing you to run ads on their platform, realistically, they want you to keep all of their clients and all of the people using the platform on the platform. When you send them to external landing pages and links to click on, it makes it a bit more expensive, because Meta knows that you are taking away that person's attention from their platform, which means that person will maybe be stopped from seeing another ad, etc., etc. So this is the second reason why these types of ads are so great when you optimize for followers. And the third thing that I've seen about these campaigns is it is a no-brainer from the lead's perspective, right? So I want you to think of it this way. When you're running adverts online, the purpose of an ad is to provide value in exchange for the opportunity to find a customer. So what I mean by that is, when you offer a lead magnet or a PDF through your advertising, essentially what you're doing is you are giving them that free thing on the contingency that they give you their email, because you know if you get their email, you can contact them and potentially turn them into a customer, right? So it's all based around value. Now, the beauty of these types of ads is before they ever opt in, they already get tons of value. And again, I'll explain this in a moment, but because they get so much value before they ever opt in, it makes it a no-brainer and easy for them to opt in. Because they're like, wow, this is extremely useful and valuable. Before I've even said yes to this person, before I've even officially opted in, what more am I going to get from staying around and actually opting into this? And by doing that, it just makes it extremely unlikely for them not to opt in, because it's a no-brainer. And again, what that does for you when you're running these types of campaigns, again, it reduces costs, it increases quality, and it increases quantity. Now, that's the beauty of these ads. And I just wanted to show you now, just so you can understand the benefits of these, of what these campaigns are better for, is one downfall of these actual types of campaigns where you optimize for followers. And what that actually relates to is the ability to track with these ads. Now, we can still track well with these ads, but because of the way that we set it up, which again, I'm going to go over right after I finish this, what we find is difficult. It's hard to know exactly which follower came from which ad. So what it typically tends to mean is you have to only launch one ad at a time if you want super specific and accurate tracking, which means it can take a bit longer to ramp up these campaigns and get them going at a scale, which isn't always the end of the day, to be completely transparent with you though, because they are so cheap that you do really get a quick ROAS within the first month guaranteed. So let's look at now the actual setup of these campaigns and how that looks, or how it looks in practical terms. And the thing that I really love about these ads is not only have I found them to be the most profitable and the most effective across this year, but they're also by far the simplest to set up, because there's very little complex tech needed. There's very little confusion in how to get it right and wrong. And the two steps that I've seen in terms of getting these campaigns up, running and extremely profitable for you is, one, you have to optimize your Instagram to become the lead magnet, so to speak. And the second one is essentially just creating the ad. Right? So there's nothing much more to it than that. So let me break down how you do both of these steps. Now, like I said, when you're advertising, what you're doing is you're providing value in exchange for the opportunity to find a customer. The value we're providing now is your Instagram. And the reason that we're providing them your Instagram is so that they opt in because they're going to find it valuable. So treat Instagram as your webinar now, or as your PDF, or as your lead magnet. It is the equivalent. Okay, now in terms of what you need to do, I'm just going to draw an Instagram page just so you can see as a setup of what it is that we need. And this is your grid with your posts. This is how you do it. So this is your lead magnet, and this is the way to think about it. This top section of your Instagram page is like your hook to you. It's your elevator pitch. It's the first thing that people will look at when you click on your profile. And if within that first couple of seconds when clicking on it, people don't see you as the expert for them, they're going to click off, and the value that you provide in the content, which I'm going to tell you how to do in the moment, just becomes completely irrelevant, right? So what you actually need to do is have a clean professional headshot that is relevant to your target avatar. So for example, if you're a cooking coach, have a nice shot of you doing some cooking. Right, create that resonance and familiarity. It's pretty straightforward. If you're an executive coach, people are going to want you looking smart. Okay. Now your bio is the most important. There's a 3-step framework I recommend for your bio to hook people in, to make sure they actually indulge the rest of the lead magnet, so to speak. First one is who you help and how you help them. The first line of your bio needs to clearly spell out who is your client avatar, what's the main problem you solve for them, and what's the main transformation that you get them. The way that I like to format that is say something like, I help X person achieve Y outcome and overcome Z problem. Again, this isn't rocket science, but by doing it in this way, it just makes it a no-brainer that when your avatar clicks on it, it makes sense for them. X is one type of person. So that could be a professional, that could be a working mum, that could be anything that you want it to be. Y is the one specific overarching problem that you help them with. So for example, that could be back pain. It could be landing a role that they're struggling to interview for. That could be anything, right? Just think of the main overarching problem that all of your clients come to you for. And Z, very simply, is the transformation. What is the main transformation you're getting that person? Is it helping them get more clients? Is it helping them get to a certain revenue mark? Is it helping them lose a certain amount of weight? Is it helping them get that dream job? Whatever that is, outline that. That should be the first line of your bio, because that's the first thing that people are going to consume here, right? That's going to be the first thing. That is how people's eyes scan. They'll scan like this, and then down to here, and then they'll go down all the rest. That's the first line of your bio. The second line is you need some social proof, because anytime you make a claim in your marketing, you need to back it up with evidence, because anybody can make a profile and say, I helped this person do this. But if you've got no evidence behind it, creates skepticism. So show some social proof. So for example, it could be how many clients you helped, how many years experience you've got, clients, like I said, how many reviews you've got, anything like that. Anything that is relevant to your target avatar and will show to them that you have the experience that you're saying you've got, right? And lastly, you want to have a CTA. What I found works the best for these types of follow ads is having a CTA to get people back to DM you. So for example, DM me the keyword ad for more info. Simple as that, right? And that's your bio. And again, this isn't overly complicated, but once you understand why we're doing what we're doing, that's when it starts to become effective. It starts clicking and you start getting real results with this. Now, by doing this and optimizing your bio in that way, when the person sees your ad and clicks on your profile, straight away they're like, yes, this person is for me. This makes sense. This is what I need help with. I'm looking at the rest of their profile. Now, the rest of your profile, we split it up into two places. So the first part, just change the colors here. The first part is your pinned posts, okay? And the second part is your value content here. And this all ties into the lead magnet, so to speak. So your pinned posts, you want three things. One, very simply, my story. What is your story? What is your journey? What is your transformation? When you're trying to sell coaching, people buy the coach, not the coaching. So essentially what you want to show is essentially up here, what is your story? What is your transformation? And link it to your client avatar, because what I mean by that is most coaches are coaching from a place of experience. So if you can show to people that you've walked the path that they're now walking down, that's going to build so much resonance and so much trust. So that's the first thing. Second post, have a collection of testimonials and results. So testimonials. Now that can be many different things. That can be screenshots of chats with your clients. That can be written reviews that they've done with you. That can be video testimonials if you've got them, which are even better. Anything to show that you know what you're talking about. And your last point, and your last post, should I say, is your differentiator post. Okay? So what does that mean? That means show why what you're doing is different to everything else that they've seen. Because in the advert, I'm going to show you how to speak to a very particular portion of the market who is hot, looking for help and ready to buy. But that means they've probably seen other solutions. So you need to explain why you're different. So a typical one is a lot of the coaches what I work with will talk about why therapy won't help this specific client avatar. Because a lot of their clients or past clients have done therapy and it's had little to no help. Okay, so this is really, really important to understand. Now, the next thing in terms of here, this second section, is your value content. And this is really where your lead magnet starts to come in and really starts to take effect. And the way that you create this content is really simple. I call it problems, micro problems. So think of it this way. Your target client has a big overarching problem. What makes up that problem are loads of little micro problems. For example, I'm helping coaches. The big problem in the middle is getting clients, right? So that should also be reflected in my one-liner in my bio, in either the Y or the Z piece. But what makes up that is that coaches don't know how to run ads, they don't know how to market themselves, they don't know how to create content, and maybe they don't know how to generate leads, they don't know how to create good lead magnets, they don't know what ad structure is the best, etc., etc., etc. But all of my content speaks on these micro problems. For example, right now, the micro problem I'm speaking on is advertising and ad structure. Okay? So this is essentially what you want to create content on the rest of your Instagram page. And so your mindset when you're going into setting up this Instagram page to become this lead magnet is all you're thinking is, how can I make this as valuable as humanly possible for this client avatar so that when they click on my ad and come onto my page, they make it a no-brainer that they follow and they press the follow button, which is nicely sat here for them. Okay? Really, really, really super important that you understand this and you optimize your page in this way, because then when you do it in this way and you position yourself as an expert and you show you've got all of that industry knowledge, it just makes it a no-brainer that the person will follow, because you've already given them so much value. Like I said earlier, there's already so much trust there because they can see your story, they can see your results, they can see why you're different before they even have to press follow, and they can also indulge all of this content for free before they even follow as well. But because you've given all of this before they follow, it just makes it a no-brainer, like I said, that they will follow. And again, it goes back to the law of reciprocity, which essentially states, in simple terms, the more that you give to somebody, the more they feel the need to give back. So in your advert, if you're asking them to follow and then they come on your page and it's filled with free valuable content, your ask of saying, can you follow me back, is very, very low, very, very low barrier and very, very simple. So that's the first step, right? Like I said, which is the content piece and the optimizing your lead magnet, which is your Instagram. The next piece is your ad. The way that I structure these ads are super, super, super simple. There's not much to it, right? but it's very, very specific to the client avatar, which is why it's so effective. So in terms of the breakdown of the ad, in terms of what we're trying to do is, first of all, we're very much focusing on the problem and we're speaking to aware customers. Levels of awareness are problem/solution aware. So let me explain what that means. When you are advertising and when you're trying to find new customers, there is a scale of these customers and how much knowledge they have around their situation. So what I mean by that is, some people aren't aware that they have an issue. Prime example, someone might be applying for loads and loads of jobs. Let's say you're an interview coach. Someone might be applying for loads and loads of jobs and they may not even think about the fact that their interviewing process is the reason they're not getting that role. So if you try to advertise to that person, you are advertising to an unaware portion of the market, and that becomes harder to sell to because you need to convince them that they have a problem, help them see they have a problem, and help them see that they need a solution for it. Whereas what we tend to do with these types of ads for the highest return on investment is speak to people who know they have a problem, or actually people who know they have a problem and know that there's a solution to that problem. And by doing that, you bring in the highest quality leads because these are people who are looking for help and who are looking to buy. Now, in terms of the actual script for the ad, I'll just give you a really top level rundown of it because it's super simple. And once you understand who your client avatar is, it's easy to plug and play. The first line, you're essentially repeating the line that you came up with in your bio. So if you're X person with Y problem, looking for Z transformation, this is for you. Then you list 2 to 3 of their biggest pain points. And the key with these is that you make them emotional, right? It has to be emotional and it has to be detailed in emotion because that's going to attract people who are feeling the emotion of their problem. And those are the ones who are going to buy because people buy with emotion and justify with logic. Once you've done that, you mention one thing that they've tried before. Then once you've done that, you have your first call to action to follow. The way it's really important that you get the CTA right because what you're saying in your CTA is follow my page, go through my content if you are looking for Z transformation. So make the promise of what they're going to get the value for. Then you list 2 times testimonials and then you do your CTA again. That is essentially how you structure your ad. And the most important thing is only speak to people who understand they have a problem and are looking for a solution or one or the other, because those are the people who are going to get out their wallets and pay. Now, in terms of actually launching these ads, in terms of what I've seen also to be the most profitable, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either do a boosted post or you can launch it through the Facebook Ads Manager. Now, although the Ads Manager is technically gives you a bit more insight to some areas, boost posts I've actually found to be the most profitable. I've worked with a lot of clients over this year, and for pretty much all of them, what we've done is we test one and launched one in the Ads Manager, and we tested one after and launched one in Boost Post. Boost Post, for whatever reason, I can't actually tell you why, but it's always 10 times more effective. So always boost your posts. All you need to do is record that ad, post it onto your Instagram page, and boost it on your Instagram page. And the way to do that is don't do it through your phone, do it on Instagram.com on the laptop to bypass the Apple charge. But that's how you launch it. And that is pretty much all you do. There's not much to it than that. Then once you launch it in this way, essentially what starts to happen is you get loads of new followers. As soon as you turn these ads on, with a budget, I'd recommend at the low end budget, right, if you're a little bit newer, tends to £20 a day. And if you're more established, depending as well if you've got an appointment setter or if you're going to be doing it yourself, you're looking at anything from 50 to 100 a day. I would, as a recommendation. Obviously, you can do more than less than that. That's what I'd recommend. One thing I found with these ads, though, is as you start hitting sort of the £300 a day mark for one ad, the return doesn't compound in the way that you want to. So it's better to launch another ad on, stack it on top. Now, the other thing for you to know earlier when I mentioned about tracking and the downfall of these ads is, unfortunately, there's no feature on Instagram which shows us which follower comes from which ad. So what that means is when you are running these ads, you can only really launch one at a time. So the way that I do it to be really, really accurate about tracking and to know which ads exactly bringing in the lead quality is I do one follower ad at a time. If we're happy with the quality of the first one, then we stack another one. If we're happy with that, then we stack another one, and we just keep growing and going until there's no more capacity or it can't be reached or we're at a level that we're happy at. But then if we go with the first one and we're not happy with it, we would just turn that off and we'd relaunch another one and re-look at the quality. But then the flow after this also is pretty simple in terms of what you do. So you get a follower, you then message them in the DMs, book them in for a call, and you sell them. That's the flow. There's nothing more to it than that. Super, super simple. But this is the process that I would recommend if you're looking for the most profitable, the cheapest, and the simplest to run advertising campaigns. And like I said, I've spent over $150,000 on these campaigns this year. And yeah, these are by far the most profitable, more profitable than VSL or straight to book a call ads or webinars, etc., etc., etc. If you have any questions about this at all, my Instagram is below. Feel free to reach out. And if you want any help in terms of how to actually run profitable ads for your online business, all you have to do is press the link below, book in a time with me, and we can get that sorted.